Okay, friends, we have finished our neck ribbing, and I have 3/4 of an inch. You may have more if you're knitting a bigger size, but we are ready to start the next directions, which is increase neckline increases. So our directions say knit increasing 12, more if you're doing a bigger size, stitches evenly spaced. How do we figure out how to do that? We're going to do some very simple math. If math makes you break out into a cold sweat, take a deep breath. We'll get there together. So, what we need to do is come back up here and look at how many stitches we cast on. Should be the same number of stitches you still currently have on your needle. For me, that's 56. For you, that might be a larger number. I'm going to write that number down on a piece of scratch paper here, 56. We're going to divide this number by how many stitches we will be increasing. For me, that's 12. We're going to come over to a calculator. We have some other math I was doing earlier. 56 divided by 12. 4 and some change. This shows me that I will be increasing every 4 rows all the way around my knitting in order to get an evenly spaced increases. My type A friends are going to tell me, Callista, that is not going to be exactly even. You are absolutely right, my friends. You also cannot be increasing in a sixth of a stitch. That'd be what? 2/3 of a stitch. And knitting is squishy, especially with sweaters. If sweaters just are squishy, by that I mean you can play around plus or minus a couple stitches here and there. It's not going to be that noticeable, especially when you're wearing it. It does become a little more important if you're doing lace patterns or colorwork patterns, things like that. But what I will do is, because I do have this fraction here, I will increase, I will do like 4 stitches, increase a stitch, then do 5 stitches, increase a stitch. And I'm still not going to be exact, but I'm going to be pretty close. The reason they say to increase evenly all the way around is so that you don't have a bunch of increases bunched up in one spot. That's going to create a pucker in your fabric, and it just won't look nice. So we're going to increase as evenly as we can, and it will be fine. It will be fine, I promise. And if you're still kind of getting hives about it not being exactly even, take a deep breath. It will be okay. We're going to do another example here for a different size. If you're doing the smallest adult size, that's 80, and we would divide by 24. That's 3 1/3. So then again, I would alternate every 3 stitches, increase, and then every 4 stitches, increase. And then I would maybe go back to like 2 sets of 3 stitches and then increase 4 and increase. We're doing the best we can to get it as even as possible, is the main point. So I'm going to switch over cameras and we will execute the plan together. Okay, we are going to increase 12 for my pattern. Make sure you know how many, or my size anyway. So be sure you know how many you will be increasing and how many stitches you're going to do between. The other thing that I saw on the pattern that I forgot to mention in the last video is that as we're doing this, we're also going to switch to the larger needles. For me, that's 9. For you, it might be 8 or whatever size you got your gauge with. So we're simply going to start knitting with the larger needles at this point. And as we get all the way around, we'll eventually get all of the stitches onto this needle. So for me, I'm increasing 12. Which means I was going to be knitting 3, 1, 2, 3. This is going to be a little fiddly for a while because this other needle is going to be annoying back there. Okay, so I've knit my 3. You might have knit a different number before your increase. The increase we're going to be doing is a left leaning increase. Make 1 left. You may have see it other places saying make 1 left. And we're going to take the left needle, put it from front to back through this little loop here. So it's not a stitch, it's actually in between stitches right underneath. So front to back, pick it up, show you again, taking our right needle, going in through the front and picking up that little, it's sometimes called a bar, little bar underneath there, and then I'm going to knit it through the back. Okay, show you again. Pick it up, knit through the back, and then off. And so I have increased 1. So here I'm going to do another 3. Same thing, pick up that little bar in from the front, knit it through the back. Well, I pulled it out again. I'm going to do 4 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because remember when I did my math, it was 56 stitches divided by 12 was 3 and I think it was 2/3. I have a memory like a gnat, so. So now I have 1, 2, 3. I have increased. Four increases. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. You'll see I have several stitches here. I'm going to just knit the rest of them. You may finish and end up with just a couple left. Either way, we spread those increases out over most of the row. That is an annoying noise. Yeesh. Okay. So now that I've finished my increase row and I have also gotten onto my bigger needles, now's a good time to count the number of stitches you have to make sure that you've done the correct number of increases. have 68. Okay, let's go back to our pattern. Okay, I had 68 stitches, and looky there. This is how many stitches you should have after you've done your increases. Yeah, so for me it was 68. For you it might be a different number. If you don't have the correct number, you have a couple of options. You can undo the last row that you just did. I have a video on how to undo your knitting and try again. Or because remember, sweaters are squishy, you can do another round of knitting and fix it in the next round. So if you ended up with too many, you can do a couple few, however many you need decreases on the next round, or do a couple more increases. Option two would be what I would do because I hate undoing knitting. But both of those would work fine.